B1175 on this 2010 to 2017 Honda Accord with the 2.4 gas engine is a fuel level sensor circuit malfunction seen by the gauge control module. In plain terms, the module may not be seeing the fuel level sender circuit the way it expects. The vehicle may have an inaccurate fuel gauge, a gauge that does not respond normally, or an intermittent fuel level display concern. The possible fault areas are the fuel gauge sender circuit wiring, connector fit or terminal condition, the fuel gauge sending unit, and after the circuit and sender check good, the gauge control module. If other codes are present, sort out the multiple code path first so you are not chasing this one out of order. Start by confirming the fault. Clear the DTCs with the HDS. Turn the ignition switch to lock 0, or press the engine start/stop button to select the OFF mode. Then turn the ignition switch to on Roman 2, or select the on mode and wait more than 30 seconds. Recheck for DTCs with the HDS. If B1175 comes back, move into circuit testing. If B1175 does not return, treat it as an intermittent failure for now. The system is okay at this time, and the next thing to look for is loose or poor connections. With the code confirmed, check the fuel gauge plus line. Turn the ignition switch to lock 0 or select OFF mode. Disconnect gauge control module connector A32P and disconnect the fuel gauge sending unit 4P connector. Now check continuity between gauge control module connector A32P No. 22 the GRY wire and fuel gauge sending unit 4P connector No. 2. Also the GRY wire. If you have continuity, the fuel gauge plus wire is okay and you continue to the next circuit. If there is no continuity, repair the open or high resistance in that wire. Next, check the fuel gauge line with the same connectors still disconnected and the ignition in lock 0 or OFF mode. Check continuity between gauge control module connector A32P No. 21 the TAN wire and fuel gauge sending unit 4P connector No. 4 also the TAN wire. If continuity is present, the fuel gauge wire is okay and the diagnosis moves to the sending unit. If there is no continuity, repair the open or high resistance in that wire. Once both the fuel gauge plus and fuel gauge circuits have passed the continuity checks, test the fuel gauge sending unit. If the sending unit is not okay, replace the fuel gauge sending unit. If the sending unit is okay, the circuit and sender have been ruled out in this path, and the next supported repair is to replace the gauge control module. The logic for B1175 is straightforward. Confirm the code, check the two sender circuit wires for opens or high resistance, then test the fuel gauge sending unit before condemning the gauge control module. For more diagnostic training, visit stepdiagnostics.com.